morning. Cheers. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. It's a little bit louder today. Today we're going to talk about hope in kind of a different way. All right. This has been a week and it is only Wednesday, very early in the morning. And what an amazing week. I will get probably emotional in this, and I'm not going to apologize for that because it is real. We started a hope campaign with Ashley Melke from the Grief and Trauma Healing Center right here in Edmonton. And it is beyond what my small brain could comprehend. And I remember when Ashley was talking about it with me, and I'm like, yeah, God thinks way bigger than what we can think of. And when we thought about ordering the t-shirts, being such a small little company, I'm like, oh, we've never done anything this big before. So we went with 100, and that wasn't enough. So we've had to order more. And thank you, Jesus. Thank you, all of you, because you have been such huge supporters of us. And this topic of mental health and suicide prevention is so important. So here I go. You know, my own story, we can talk a little bit about it, but deep down, we all have this need for connection, to belong and to feel accepted. And this is a quote from Brene Brown. The truth is, belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance, because believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. Brene Brown. And she has many other quotes on being accepted. And I've struggled my whole life with this. And you know, we all know kids can be mean. We just seem to accept that, and I don't understand why. Why are they mean? What is missing? Why is a child mean? Well, we can look at that later. I think that it comes along with, we always say it's what they've been taught. It's really what they see, which they learn from seeing. And it can come from inside and how they feel about themselves. And that's a much deeper subject. But in junior high, we had moved I was an Army brat, and we had an Army kid. They called us brats in the old days. I don't know why. We weren't brats. But anyway, we'd moved around a lot, and our last posting, we moved to a place called Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And I was 12, and I was going into grade 7. Well, my whole life before that was being on different Army bases and going to Army schools and being with kids like me. Well, I was the new kid, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. We had and maybe you guys did too, we had a tradition in my family. My mother loved to take us shopping in August for school clothes. And this year, we didn't actually get the opportunity to go shopping because we had moved and there were so many things happening. So she put me in, and well, she didn't dress me, but this was what I was going to wear. I was wearing a suit she had bought me for a wedding of a friend's that she had taken me to when we still lived in the place we'd lived prior. It was a gingham skirt suit. It was red, white, and blue. It had puff sleeves, and it had a button-down jacket, and I had knee socks and a very smart pair of shoes. I don't even remember the shoes, but I remember the suit. I was the size I am now, pretty much. I was about 5'8", long straight hair, one eyebrow. Yeah. And I wasn't by any means overweight. I was just a big kid. And I walked in, and instantly everyone's looking at me like, number one, I'm new. Number two, I stand out like a sore thumb. Everyone's looking at me and they're laughing. Even my teacher felt sorry for me. And don't think that this went by me unnoticed. I felt ridiculous. So my first morning of grade 7 was HE double hockey sticks. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I didn't fit in. I did not belong. What the heck was I doing there? So I went home at lunch and I changed, but into different clothes. Going, okay, this has gotta, well, you can't undo what they saw. So for several months, I was bullied. I was called everything from, I don't even know why they called me this, but gravy train. Because in my way of thinking, a gravy train is somebody who's like got a lot of money, and but no, it wasn't meant in that way. Fat, ugly, I was a loser. Nobody wanted to be my friend. So then I decided at that point, after months of not fitting in, that I was going to change things. And actually, it was almost a year. It didn't stop me from doing things. I joined basketball. I did like everything I could, but I was still the big loser. So by grade 8, things had changed. I came back and I was a comedian. I was the class clown. I was disruptive. I was funny. And I became accepted. I became what they wanted me to be, what they needed, what my little corner of the world needed. And you know what happened? I lost her. I lost me. Not that I don't have a sense of humor. I actually do. It's a part of who I am. But it overtook everything. And I made the jokes about myself before anyone else could. That's how I fit. And it makes me think about the parables of the talents in Matthew 25, verses 14 to 30. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not even going to read any of it. I'm just going to summarize the one part. There's the one person who gets the one piece of gold, the one talent. And he's so afraid that he goes out and he buries it. He hides it in the ground. He hides his gold. Well, you know what happened? That's what I did. That's what a lot of us do. We hide the gold that God gives us. Because we are afraid that we're not going to be accepted, we're not going to fit in, we're going to be rejected, we're going to be bullied, or we have the fear of failing. And even when I found Jesus, that part of fitting in was so strong. I still did things to make everyone else happy, the people pleaser in me. And I still really didn't know who I was. Did I use the talents that God gave me? Yes, but not to the fullness. I don't believe that. And it wasn't until this year, yes, 2020. Oh my goodness, what a year. It wasn't until this year. And prior to that, I was just doing and being and feeling what was expected, what I thought was expected of me, until I couldn't anymore. I think God was really tired of watching me waste the gifts he gave me, and watching me waste away mentally, emotionally, and just not being me. And it's not like he didn't give me signs before, tests and trials, but this year, like for so many of you, brought me right to my knees. I had lost hope. I felt defeated, I felt unseen and heard and invisible, and most of that was at my own doing, because I was believing all the lies that I was telling myself. I was lost. And God is so loving and kind that he sat with me, he walked with me, and he led me. He led me to the Grief and Trauma Healing Center through meeting a beautiful human being named Ashley, who created that center to help people, anyone, dealing with grief, with loss, with traumas, with hopelessness, to find themselves. And I didn't even know, like I had seen her, we had talked at church, but we met, there was a business group that I had started with a dear friend that I ended up bowing out of because I had my breakdown to a breakthrough. But she came on with us and she was in the Zoom meetings, and there was something, and I was aching inside, and I really wanted to talk to her. And she actually reached out to me in the meeting, just where you can text. And it was like, man, I'd really like to, I love your honesty. And I was being honest and I was being vulnerable, but it was just a part, like a little snippet. And she saw something and said, I'd really love to connect with you. And that little thing triggered something in me, like she saw me. And I think she saw the pain in me. And her heart is to help, as I get emotional. And it took me a while, but I reached out to her and I said, I really need help. And she said, okay, well, we have a relationship and I can't be the person to help you, but I'm going to give you somebody to talk to who works with me. And she, with her discernment, gave me the right person. And I'm so grateful for Sherry. That's who I have been walking through this journey with. And anyway, I believe that God created Ashley for so much more, and she is stepping out into the purpose that he has given her, and it's so much bigger than what she even realizes. But anyway, I have learned through the Grief and Trauma Healing Center that I got to know myself. I got to know myself and like myself. I got to deal with my past hurts and traumas, disappointments, and even good things. And I'm learning to feel it and be okay with me. This program has given me my life back, and it has given me my hope back. Because even in my faith, I felt like I wasn't good enough because I had to go through all of those things. Now, something I've learned about God's love for me is that I'm not defined by others' opinions of me. I'm not defined by my mistakes. I'm not defined by my successes or my failures. But in Jesus, I am enough. I am valuable and loved, and I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I guess I'm just asking you to be brave enough to step out of the darkness if you're in darkness, or if you're feeling pain. If you've been hiding too long. It's time to step out, ask for help, and let your light shine. In Matthew 5, verses 14 to 16 in the Message, it says this. Here's another way to put it. You're here to be light. Bring out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, don't you think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I've put you out there on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house, be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven. And remember, hope does anchor the soul. And if you are feeling hopeless, lost, that the world would be better without you, it is not true. The world would not be better without you. You matter and you are valuable, and there are places that you can contact. There's places like the Grief and Trauma Healing Center and the Canadian Mental Health Association right here in Edmonton. It's across Canada. They have amazing programs. Please don't stay in the darkness. Please reach out and become who you were meant to be. You weren't meant to fit in. You're meant to belong. God bless you. And I know that this was long, and if you've watched the whole thing, I'm so grateful. But we love you here, and we just encourage you to have hope and to love Jesus and to love yourself and love others.